Today we will be learning how to find the area of parallelograms through rectangle facts. Although you should already know these vocabulary terms, here is a reminder. Congruent means to be equal to. Parallel means the opposite lines, planes, or surfaces remain the same distance apart and will never meet. A parallelogram is a simple quadrilateral with two pairs of parallel sides. The opposite parallel sides and opposite angles are congruent. The first activity we will be doing today is naming each shape. What is the name of each of these shapes, and which ones are parallelograms? Do you know from the vocabulary definitions I gave you? Here are the answers for your first exercise. The first shape is a right triangle. Not only does it only have 3 sides, but also none of them are parallel. Your second shape is a parallelogram. It has 2 pairs of parallel sides, and also the opposite sides are congruent and opposite angles are congruent. Your third shape is a rectangle, which is also a parallelogram. Opposite sides are parallel, opposite angles are congruent, as well as, because it's a rectangle, all the angles are 90 degrees, and opposite sides are congruent. Your fourth shape is a trapezoid. Although it has a pair of parallel sides, it is not a parallelogram, because a parallelogram needs 2 pairs of opposite parallel sides, where a trapezoid only has 1. Your last shape is a circle. It is not a parallelogram. For our next exercise, we will be finding the area of a parallelogram by using base times height as a formula. In this particular parallelogram, the base is 4 inches. And although most students might think by looking that it would be 5 inches for the height, it's actually the 3 inches, because the height of a shape cannot be determined by the diagonal, which is the 5 inches in the parallelogram. Now, we would plug in the base of 4 inches and the height of 3 inches, and don't forget your units, and we would multiply. 4 times 3 gives you 12 inches, and not only do you multiply the 4 and 3, you multiply inches by inches, so it gives you inches squared, with your area for this parallelogram being 12 inches squared. Now it's time to find the area of this parallelogram by yourself. Do you remember the area formula for a parallelogram? Remember what we mentioned in the last one for the practice. What's the height? What's the base? And don't forget your units. Here's the answer for your own practice exercise. Did you get it? You had your 7 centimeters for a base and 4 centimeters for your height, for your formula of area equals base times height for your parallelogram. Did you remember your centimeters squared for your units? It's a common problem with students forgetting that when they multiply, they remember to multiply their numbers, but they forget that when you have centimeters times centimeters, it turns into squared. Just in case you didn't get the last exercise perfect by yourself, we're going to be doing one more. Remember your formula, remember your units. Good luck! Well, did you get it right this time? You had an area of 4 feet squared. Your base was your 4 feet and the height was 1 foot. Remember, the height is not a diagonal, so the 1.5 feet cannot be your height. The height will always be perpendicular to the base. You see? Those are 90-degree angles, which means the height is perpendicular to the base. I hope you remembered your units. Remember, you don't just multiply the 4 and the 1. You have to remember feet times feet. Feet squared. Just like if you're squaring a number. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a better understanding of how to find the area of a parallelogram. And remember what the base and the height are, and never forget your units have to be squared.